Welcome back to the Skitch on Wheels channel. Today we're going to bring some power to the front of the new Suzuki DR-Z4S. So first things first today, I went ahead and bought the Suzuki manual for the DR-Z4S. Even though it says DR-Z400, this is the manual for the 4S. And if you look through it, everything in there has to do with the new 4S. Not sure why they have that printed that way. $100 manual, but hopefully it's worth the purchase. Next up, we've got a socket here, an outlet for charging my phone, whatever I want to run off of it. It's going to be a 12-volt DC circuit, and then I'll hook that up to the bike, hook it up to the battery, so we got power up front. This connection I have, this has two things on it. This adapter here, this is a little power source to my battery tender, and then also this is a power source to heated gear that I wear. So I do ride in the wintertime, and that keeps my heated gear nice and warm. Another mount we're going to put on and hook up to the battery is for my Garmin XT Zumo. The thing you need to remember about this mount and the XT Zumo is this is wired straight into the battery, and so as long as the Garmin is mounted, it's drawing from the battery, even if the bike's off. So you always have to remember when you turn your bike off, you've got to disconnect the Garmin. So it is kind of a nuisance, but I enjoy the Garmin. I know how to use it. Now, last here we have what I bought from Suzuki as an accessory for the DR-Z4S, and that's the charging outlet or the power outlet. So let's look inside. Looks like we got a QR code for what the instructions. Got a pack here of our bolts here that are going to go in the riser. And then the actual outlet here, the part you're paying for. This looks like it's going to be a plug and play type of connection. We're going to mount this on the bars. It's just the old school kind of cigarette lighter plug something in there. It's going to have an adapter that has USB-C or USB port on it. Pretty straightforward. So let's go ahead, let's scan this in and see what we get. So we got a little bit of an issue here. Let me show you what happens. So when you scan the code, this takes you to Suzuki's website with instruction manual. And you're supposed to find the new DR-Z4S. Well, as we go through our list here, there is no DR-Z4S. So something you all might have to do that I did, I had to go ahead and get in touch with the dealership that sold me the bike, and they were able to get me a corporate link to get to the right information. And so then I was able to print out the instructions. First page is just going to give us a parts list. Second page is going to show us a little bit about the tools that we need. Looks like we're going to need a 5mm and 6mm hexagon socket. Second page is going to tell us to disconnect the negative cable on the battery. You know, I'm not going to tell you you don't have to do that. I'm doing that because I know I'm going to hook up some other things as well. But that's just kind of precautions for installation. So first thing we want to do is we want to get this panel off and get to the battery. And to do that, we've got to take this black panel off. There's a little pull tab here. We've got a key unlock. That just pops out. And you can see I've got my registration in this little handy pocket. You got some tools here. But what it does is it exposes this final bolt. So you have 3 bolts here that you're going to take this side panel off with. So I've got my 8mm socket here. I put an extension on just because it's hard to get in there. So let's go ahead and loosen these and take these off. So we've got the 3 screws out, and this is still stuck, and I looked and it looks like there's 2 little tabs here, so we need to just pull this straight off. It comes out fairly easily, but you can see these tabs here, they go straight in these 2 holes here, and you got your battery right here. All your electrical work, your fuse work right there. Some people have got a little kind of bungee cord here that you can tuck wires underneath. I think that's aftermarket. It didn't come on this bike. Up next, they're asking us to remove the headlight cover. I think we've got 4 screws that attach it. This is why I got the service manual. It's got more information. You can see the headlamp cover here. It's got an attachment here on top and then 2 on the bottom. So that'll give me an indication where to look on the bike. So we've got 2 bolts here that we're going to take out, and this is a number 5 Allen's socket. We got 2 more to go, one here and one on the other side. And again, this is a 5mm. This one's going to be a lot easier to take out. They really aren't in very tight. That's going to be a part that we'll probably have to periodically tighten. Let's see if that just comes straight off. And it does. Yeah, just 4 little tabs. Just have to remember where they go back in. But that was pretty simple, straightforward. Next step, they want us to remove these little plastic caps. We've got a label here saying 12 volt that's going to go right here on the socket, just so we know that that's a 12 volt. And then I believe on the other side, there's this little spongy pad that goes on the other side. So we'll put those 2 on next. So let's follow the diagram. Let's pop this on. Got our label on. Next page, we've got this little rubber sticker, and it looks like we're going to switch it over to the other side and place it right about here. We'll see once we get it put on what that actually does. All right, up next we're going to install the DC socket onto the handlebar. Here we're going to use a number 6 hex bit socket. And we're going to loosen these 2 bolts here on the handlebars, on the risers. I call them risers, they're just bar clamps. Wow, they weren't very tight either. Oh, that one's loose. The other thing is, you can tell there's no Loctite on those. And I'll put some blue Loctite on the new ones when I put it back on. So we're going to put these little spacers in, put the bar clamp back on. I'm just going to put one in to hold it without the Loctite so I can get the other one set. See what I've done? You got to look, you got a direction that you got to put it back in. So let's take that back out. It might not matter, but it might. Okay, that's there. Here's where I just put a little bit of this Loctite, blue Loctite on. Doesn't take much. I'll pull this one out. Put a little bit on here. Not going to torque those down yet. I'm going to make sure everything works first. But we got it in place. Let's go feed this wire through where it needs to go and get some power to it. We've got to route this wire through. That fuse is pretty big, so we'll have to see where that goes. But this is what I was curious about. I was thinking that maybe this wire went around it or somehow. I wasn't sure what that was for, and then I figured it out that when you open this little cap here, that holds it. So, do we really need that? I don't know. I guess we do. Maybe it keeps it from flopping around, but that's what that little additional part is. You know, I'm going to try to follow their guide there, but to be honest with you, it's kind of confusing as to where they're saying to route it. I've got a pretty good idea. I think you can figure out on your own where it will fit, where it won't, and the best place to take it to give it a good tidy appearance. Probably the most difficult part is this fuse is pretty big, and there's a hole going right down through here. Looks perfect for it. I think I can get it through there, and that's where they want you to put it. But I'm definitely going to have to move some things out of the way to do it. I can feel it coming through there. It might have went, actually. Okay. So made it through that passage. I know it looks like a big jumbled mess, but here's our socket. It's running down through here, coming out here. You can see where that's moving. And then I'll look and see where it goes from there. I'm sure it's going to wrap around, probably go right through here and wrap around to the other side. We'll see. Let's move on. So this is our plug-in right here. It's got a waterproof cap to it. And I don't know if you can see that. There's just a little clip here. Push that down and pull it out. And that's where, oops, and that's where this is going to plug into. Well, let's go ahead and plug that in. Okay, great. So we're all hooked up. Now it's time to just kind of anchor things down. So that's coming through here. I'll probably attach it here. Yeah, they show this fuse just sitting in here and that just tucking under. So you can see this is the fuse, and off to the corner there, right at that bend right here is where they see it going, where they're going to attach it. And this kind of just tracks up alongside here. So I'll probably attach that with a zip tie there. So here's where I'm going to go. I'm just going to put this right here. You know, that's pretty secure. I'll put another zip tie over here on this side. You know, that's really secure over there. This is kind of bugging me here, but that's the way it shows it. I don't want it to flop out down through here. I guess I could put it there, but it just feels like it's a lot more secure if we can tuck it in behind here. Do a little zip tie here. Let's trim those off. Good thing about zip ties, if you get one wrong, you can always cut them off and do it again. Now we just need to put the fairing back on the front. But before I do that, I'm going to test it. I'm going to see if we get some power to it. I'm going to do that before we go ahead and hook up our other projects. See what we got here. 12.8 volts. Of course, I haven't tightened that yet. Oh, there we go. We got power. See if it'll charge my phone. Charging. All right, so we did it right. So let's get things wrapped up on this first project. Time to work in reverse order now. We've got the socket in place and the wires ran. Let's go put the headlight shield back on. As you look at the front of the bike, now that we have light on it, it's not that difficult to see where these tabs go. You've got a spot here, 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 and here. And those just slide in, just like this. Now we'll go around to the other side and we'll put the bolts back in. The bolt that goes back through here is either 48 inch-pounds, 4 foot-pounds, or 5.5 Newton meters. Just going to make them snug for now. Then we've got one on the other side too. There we go. Back to our socket. These two bolts get either 17 foot-pounds or 23 Newton meters. Next up, we're going to go ahead and hook up to the battery the connections for my heated gear and my battery tender, and then also for the mount and the charging station for my Garmin XT Zumo. I did go ahead and create my own little makeshift bungee here. Hopefully these metal parts are out of the way and won't cause any issues. But I'm going to have a lot of extra wires, so they're going to fit nice right through here. I've got my Garmin up here. I'm going to try to thread this wire underneath the side panel there, under the seat, and down here to the connection. So I'm going to have to take the seat off, which I think it's this bolt. I already undid this bolt here, and then I've got another one that I'm going to have to undo right here. So let's go ahead and pull the seat off. All right, let me show you what I've done. I've went ahead and mounted the Garmin up here along with my cell phone on a quad lock. But I'm going to show you where I've run the wire. It really wasn't that difficult, but you have to take a lot of bolts off and you have to loosen up the plastics on the side. So as you can see, this plastic, pretty loose. It goes all the way across the top here and goes to the other side. I've had to take some bolts off here, here, up here, and down here. And we got the metal gas tank here, but that whole cover is just one big piece. But it's given me enough room that I can go ahead and run this wire back here to the battery terminal. Got all the wires kind of hidden there. We're getting ready to put everything back together. Ran the wires through here. There's my tender. I did take off the heated gear one. It just became too much on this positive plug until I get a different kind of power source. So that's okay. It's the middle of summer. I don't need it. And so we've got it running up here. Got some power up front. Got power to the phone. Now let's put the Garmin on. And we got power to the Garmin. When I turn this off, and we'll turn the power off, so the phone's not going to charge, and we're not drawing anything off of here. But kind of like I talked about, this Garmin is wired in hard, so it's going to always pull off the battery unless you pop that off when you turn the motor off. Now it's just a matter of putting everything back together. All that's left to do is tighten up the bolts. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that get 90 inch-pounds. Then we've got one up here that gets 75 inch-pounds. And then we're going to take a look at the front here of the DR-Z4S. Thanks for watching the video today. Hopefully it helped a little bit. I feel good about the front of the bike now. I got some power to it. I like the Suzuki socket. It was an easy install, just the plug and play. It's in a good position. We'll just see. Once I get bar protection up here, it might get in the way, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But at least right now, it's giving me some power to my phone, charging my phone, which is important. I try to have 2 types of navigation when I'm out. And so that's why I had to get this Garmin installed as well. So I use both of them. And I think it looks okay on the bike. You know, it'd be nice if it was all in one center up front here, like some of the adventure bikes, but it's not. And it's not an adventure bike. It's going to be more of a dual sport, but I'm going to push the limits to it when it comes to adventures. So thanks for watching the channel again. Give me a thumbs up, leave some comments. If you don't mind, subscribe. Also, check the links in the description. I got some affiliate links there that you can go to and get some discounts on some things. So thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.